Welcome to Johannesburg and the FNB Stadium, where there are fans coming in today. Not as many to fill the stadium, but 2,000 being allowed in to watch this crucial group match in African qualifying for next year's World Cup between South Africa and Ethiopia. South Africa top of the group, Ethiopia a point behind, but cannot afford to lose today after they lost 3-1 at home on Saturday. Well, South Africa are in buoyant mood and aiming to continue their impressive World Cup qualifying campaign this evening as they welcome Ethiopia to Johannesburg for this return match in the double header. Well, there is the standings as we see at the moment. Ghana on top with 3 wins, and South Africa with a couple of wins. Ethiopia 2 following on. Neither side can afford to really lose today. Ethiopia are heading for the Africa Cup of Nations next year. South Africa didn't qualify for that, so it's even more imperative for them that they do well in this campaign for the World Cup. Ethiopia have never qualified for the world's top table of international football. South Africa, meanwhile, have been to the World Cup 3 times. They've qualified twice, back in 1998 for the first time and 2002, and they were the hosts here in 2010. Well, then you can see they're socially distanced, the fans today, but it's great to have them back. It's been a couple of years, well, of hell for everybody, really. Africa still struggling with a lot that COVID has brought to the planet, but they're gradually trying to get back to a new kind of normalcy, and the fans hoping to enjoy a good game of football, which kicks off in around about 10 minutes' time. Bafana claimed a fine 3-1 win in Bahrain over the Warriors last Saturday to get their campaign back on track. South Africa missed out on the last 2 tournaments, are desperate to reach a first World Cup since they became the first African nation to host football's biggest tournament 11 years ago now. South Africa also the venue for the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations, where Ethiopia ended a 3-decade wait to play again in a major tournament. The Walia Ibex have also qualified for next year's Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon, something, as we said, South Africa have failed to do. However, something that their coach has won. Hugo Broos from Belgium was appointed the Cameroon coach in 2016. They were given absolutely no chance at all to, well, even get to the finals. But the Africa Cup of Nations does throw up the odd surprise from time to time, not least of which in South Africa, where Zambia won, knocking Ethiopia out in the group stage. Well, with only 2,000 fans here, you can get yourself heard a little more clearly than usual. This place, of course, the place where Spain won the World Cup back in 2010. Spain involved in the UEFA Nations League of late, but beaten by the French in the final of that new competition, which is in its 2nd year. The Africa Cup of Nations a lot older than that, and the World Cup even older than that still, starting back in 1930. So we are all set, ready, waiting. The odd Chelsea fan in here tonight. The road to Qatar. Well, he sounds like he's trying to get a place in Qatar already, although his team have yet to actually qualify. They haven't even got into the 3rd round of qualifying yet. It is tough qualifying through Africa. Ethiopia already been through the first qualifying round, in which they had a home and away aggregate win over Lesotho. Wise words. The sooner we all get back to normal life, the better. So the Bafana, after that not exactly free-flowing win over Ethiopia, the pitch was regarded as a bit of a mess. Those are the words of Hugo Broos, who was appointed in May in charge of the Bafana, and has got off to a decent start. We are definitely ready. So we're waiting for the teams to come out onto the pitch. And after the silence that we saw for previous games this year, there will be at least some noise to greet the teams when they come out. So then, which of these teams will be leading at the end of the day? Ghana have already claimed a 1-0 victory earlier in the day, away in Zimbabwe. Just the one goal in that, scored by Thomas Partey, the Arsenal man. So Ghana at the moment have the points on the board. However, South Africa, you'd have to say, are in the box seat. A win today, and they will be in charge of their own destiny. A match against Ghana to come in the last 2 matches. So it is all in their hands if they can get the job done today. Against an Ethiopia side, one of the historic sides of African football, involved in the very first Africa Cup of Nations. They were a great side.
Ladies and gentlemen,
half a century or so ago.
Welcome the national teams.
They are looking to get back to that way, but it has been a long wait.
Ethiopia.
So the teams coming out. The World Cup anthem. Greeting 2 sets of smiling players who both know that destiny is in their own hands here for the next 90 minutes. Ghana and Zimbabwe have both played 4 matches now. Ghana top the group on 9 points. 3 wins, 1 defeat. That defeat coming in South Africa. South Africa and Ethiopia both 3 games each. South Africa on 7 points. Ethiopia on 3 with just the 1 win so far. South Africa unbeaten. They're the only unbeaten side in Group G. It's win or bust now for Ethiopia from here until the end of the qualifying competition. The only upset so far in South Africa's decent start to this campaign was the disappointing 0-0 that they got in Zimbabwe in the group opener with their northern neighbours. Rebooted, though, with wins over Ghana and Ethiopia. So then, we wait for the 2 national anthems. And we should be underway with the Ethiopian national anthem in just a moment.
With the national anthem of Ethiopia.
There's a very significant Ethiopian community in Johannesburg, and it's good to see some of them here today to watch this match against South Africa. Next up, the South African national anthem. Two truly evocative national anthems. Ethiopia and South Africa have locked horns 3 times in the past. South Africa's victory at the weekend over the Warriors were their first in this rivalry, surprisingly. Let's take a look at the two teams then, and 7 of the 11 that started against Ethiopia in Bahrain at the weekend start again today. Into midfield comes Nyambulo Nankobo with Tabobo Makona moving forward in the absence of Brooks, who drops to the bench. Victor Latsuola comes in for Kutulena out on the left-hand side of the attack, with Evidence Magopa in for Makwa at the centre-forward position. Mabasa also is on the bench this evening. So then our officials come from Burundi. George Gatto with Emery Nyongabo and Pascal Zemezogo. Ethiopia make 3 changes from the side that briefly threatened to win at the weekend before capitulating. Faso Gebre Mikel has made an apology for the error that gave away the first goal, but retains his place in between the posts. Suleiman Hamid comes in for Azrat Tonjo at right back, whilst Emmanuel Johannes comes in for the legendary Shumeles Bekele in attacking midfield. Getana Kebeda is still leading the line up front. Emmanuel Gebre Mikel, who is on the right-hand side, and Achelo Temena, who scored the winner against Zimbabwe, has had a marriage since then, so congratulations to him. Nervous looking national coach Wabato Abate. Meanwhile, confidence is soaring for his opposite number, Hugo Bross, who is a 69-year-old who replaced Molefe Nseke, who was sacked in March after South Africa failed to reach next year's Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon, where ironically he led that country to the title in 2017 in Gabon. Off we go then, a few minutes late, but we are underway here at Soccer City. One of the legendary soccer venues around the world. Venue for the 2010 World Cup final. And a place that sounds very strange that there are no vuvuzelas sounding off. Of course, they were almost the symphony that underwrote the World Cup back in 2010. And just the cannoning echoing of 2,000 supporters early on. Let's hope that the players can give them something to get behind. Ethiopia playing in red and kicking from right to left in this first half. Well, Ethiopia, before that 3-1 defeat to South Africa, they hadn't lost at home for almost a year. 4 wins and a draw. They'd only conceded 1 goal as well since a 3-1 defeat in a friendly against Zambia. Pretty much exactly a year ago. They start off this game, though, desperately needing to get themselves sorted out. It is time for Ethiopia to start to hit the sweet notes again. The same could be said for South Africa, in all honesty. It was a humiliating failure to get to the Africa Cup of Nations for a side that has such a proud history. And there's a chance for Ethiopia on this near side. Picked up by Abubakar Nazir. Known as Abuke for short, 21-year-old centre forward who plays for Ethiopian Coffee, Ethiopian Buna as they are known in Ethiopia. And South Africa now on the charge down the left-hand side. It goes behind, and good work early on. Terence Mashego trying to create something up early there for South Africa. And he's managed to get a corner kick. Made a winning debut against Ethiopia, did the South African at the weekend. And was impressive and retained his place in the starting lineup as a result. That was not the best corner kick you're ever going to see. Way over the head of Yusuf Mart. South Africa ranked 73rd in the world, 13th highest African side. Ethiopia 134th, that's 3 up from where they were in the September FIFA rankings. Thanks in part to that victory over Zimbabwe. Right at the end of the game, it was a penalty that seemed to take forever to take. Ashlo Tamena held his nerve and easily beat the Zimbabwean keeper. And it was a decent performance from Ethiopia. They play nice football, but they lack a little bit of a cutting edge up front. They need a sort of Didier Drogba type figure to lead their lines. Here they come. Abubakar again. Seen a couple of times down from him now, and he's managed to get to the byline. Can he get it back in again? Not quite. Easily intercepted and picked up in the middle by Plongwane. Both sides showing early determination to attack. Here's Suleiman Hamid in for Azrat Tonjo today at right back. Down he goes to Emmanuel Gebri Mikel into the middle. Chance for Getana Kebeda. Shoots straight against the South African, asks for a penalty. Referee runs away. Not interested. 5 minutes gone and a fairly bright start here at Soccer City. Picked up by N'Golo Ngobo, the midfielder, alongside Youssef Mart in the engine room of this South African lineup today. Back to Siyanga Zulu, wearing number 5. He puts a little dinked ball forward. Oh, there's a foul. Ramadan Youssef, the Ethiopian left back, the culprit, coming through the back of evidence. Makagopa. One of the men who scored in that 3-1 win was the South African number 9, and rewarded with a start today. Well, that was the claim for a penalty made by Getana Kebede. I think it would have been very harsh if it had been given. There is Emmanuel. Forward comes Sidney Moby, and he's brought down. And the right back has got South Africa another free kick. It's a long way out, so the delivery is going to need to be spot on. Sent in, and you could hear the frustration. Didn't catch hold of that at all. Good work on that far side, though, by Victor Letsualo, who is then brought down by Emmanuel Gebre-Mikel. Was never really going to get hold of that. Another one of the Ethiopian coffee lads from who was second in the Ethiopian Premier League last season. New season not far away. They've already got through a couple of regional cup competitions in Ethiopia, in which gets the Ethiopian football season off and ready. Ethiopian coffee based in the capital, but recently in Ethiopia it's the teams from outside of Addis Ababa who have become the more dangerous teams. Fasil Cite from Gonda, classic example, winning the Ethiopian Premier League after just 5 years in the top flight. And a side that were in the running for the last 3 years as well of that existence, led by that man there for the first part of that, the now Ethiopian coach, Wabatu Abate. He also was in charge of Ethiopian Coffee as well for their first ever Ethiopian Premier League title back in 2010, 2011 as well. So he's had quite a lot of success, but his Faisal Cite team were beaten on the final day of the season a couple of years ago. And then when he left and the new man took over, they ended up being denied the title after the season was cancelled because of, well, COVID-19. So it was just reward for them when they won it. The wrinkled lines there of Hugo Broos unexpectedly transformed Cameroon into a title-winning team at the Africa Cup of Nations of 2017. He'd been through a lot of club competitions since then, or before then in Belgium. Went to the Gulf as well, before ending up in Algeria. Now in charge of the Bafana Bafana, who are hoping he will have the same magic wand that he managed to wave for the Cameroonians and the indomitable Lions. In it comes then, and well, there's a better delivery from Mokena. Nobody could really get the proper touch though. Well, brought down by Lazzuolo again. And a ripple of appreciative applause from the smattering of supporters inside the FNB Stadium here in the largest city in South Africa, Johannesburg. Faisal Gebremichael ordering his troops. Coach kept faith with him, even though he made a howler of an error in the first match. Now he's come for this and he's missed it. Oh, and it's as big an error for the first goal of the return match as it was on Saturday in Bahrain. An awful start for Ethiopia. An own goal gifts South Africa the lead. That is so unfortunate. Getting a Kabeda with the captain's armband, forlornly walking back to the halfway line with the blood draining out of his face. Well, it was a decent corner, but the goalkeeper got completely lost here. Good corner in from Youssef Mart. It created the danger in the middle. The header was a good one forward, but that really shouldn't have been a goal. Celebrations for Hugo Bross and his men as South Africa take the lead. Well, in similar circumstances to in the first leg. South Africa 1, Ethiopia 0, nearly 12 minutes gone. Well, South Africa looking to go above Ghana again to the top of the table. They surprisingly beat them earlier in the campaign, and they are looking to make sure that that victory is not in vain. Ghana, the favourites for the group. Don't forget, only the winners go through, and Faisal Gebremichael in trouble again, but he got rid of it well that time. Picked up by Emmanuel Gebremichael, feeds it back into the path there of Mesud Mohammed. He lays a short ball out wide, back into Suleiman's feet. Oh, and they've given the ball away in midfield, and South Africa with a chance to come forward. Is that onside? If he's onside, there's the second chance. Here comes the goalkeeper. Oh, and he's offside. Well, so he can't possibly have picked the ball up in open play outside his area. Well, he wasn't offside. Was he offside? Was he offside? No VAR, so whatever the assistant says goes. Here's Surafel, Nanacho, feeds it out to Abubakar Nazir. He hits the South African defender though. Ethiopia keep possession, but will they keep it for long? Good tackle coming in. And Ethiopia broke early, but South Africa managed to regroup just in time. Picked up by Mobi. He decides to go long, and that could be a very good ball indeed. It's offside again against Victor Letsualo. Well, there was no excuse for that offside, to be honest with you. But again, yeah. Well, he shouldn't be offside from there. That's lazy. Emmanuel Gebremichael grabs the ball as he goes down, gets the free kick off the boot there of Youssef Mart, playing for Mavala today in midfield for Bafana Bafana. Well, he's a silky runner, is Emmanuel, when he's in the mood. We saw him against Zimbabwe, looking very good indeed. Game where Ethiopia defended very well. Defence has been their issue. Ronwen Williams in goal for South Africa, as the wall is told not to use their arms, even in self-defence. So then, played short by Masood, back inside by Ramadan. And the shot from outside the area is hit straight into the wall by Surafel. And it dribbles through to the goalkeeper, Williams, who gets rid of it straight away. 15 minutes gone, South Africa 1, Ethiopia 0. South Africa, apart from the goal, haven't created very much, and it was a gift, a second time in a row that Ethiopia have gifted South Africa the opening goal of the game. And you have to say that Faso Gebremichael was just as much as fault for this one as he was for the last, coming for a corner that he got nowhere near. And then the own goal scored by Getana Kebeda, who just couldn't sort out where he was going to volley the ball and ended up, well, just diverting it into his own net. Another offside. South Africa, you'd think they'd be learning by now. Ethiopia defending with a very high line. Yep, right decision. Clearly offside. Quickly taken by Abubakar Nasir. In by Abubakar again. Square by Surafel. Long shot over the top, but Rowan Williams was confident. Wasn't going to threaten his goal. Well, Ethiopia are opening up with their first chance with the shot from Messoud Mohamed. Defensive midfielder for Sabata City, who won the pre-season Sidama Gofere Cup, coming into this part of the pre-season. Here he is again, Messoud, who's been upended. Yusuf Mart says he's got the ball, but the referee whistled for the way that he did get it. Well, he nearly managed to get it cleanly. Wasn't an awful lot wrong with that by the looks of it. Ethiopia, though, get the decision, and it comes out to Ramadan. Through the feet of Emmanuel Johannes, who's in today for Shemeles Bekele. Very long-standing attacker for Ethiopia, who usually plays alongside Getana Kebeda up front. Brought down by Messoud, but they've managed to keep the ball as well. Emmanuel Johannes once more feeds it out to Abubakar Nasir, who runs well straight at the defence and is intercepted well by Sidney Mobi. However, he's now tackled. Back it comes to Abubakar. Emmanuel Johannes has come over to this left-hand side. And it's gone off for a throw-in to the visitors as they try to recover their composure. Giving themselves an awfully big job. Messoud. Abraham Johannes has gone back to his normal position as it comes back in again to Messoud Mohamed once more, the central midfielder. The no-look pass out to Ramadan Yusuf, and he's done well there to get round the back of his man Longwane. Back it comes in, shot came in from Kebeda. Getana Kebeda there with a chance to equalise, and a sharp save by Ronwen Williams. Good play from Ethiopia, best they've had so far. It arrived a little bit at the wrong height for the Ethiopian centre forward. Getana Kebeda, who had a wonderful free kick to level midway through the second half against South Africa at the weekend, that briefly gave them hope of a second win in the group. He played in South Africa for Bidvest Wits. Second Ethiopian to play in that league. Here comes South Africa to the other end, though. Oh, it's all between the three players who had come into the penalty area, and Victor Lodswalo goes off to retrieve it on the far side. Prospect of a highly entertaining game. The anticipation of a high-scoring match was doing the rounds before the game. And with Ethiopia defending like that, then there could well be more goals. But Emmanuel Gebremichael has lost out in the tackle. 20 minutes gone. And Getana Kebeda's own goal in the 11th minute separates the two sides. South Africa at the moment heading back to the group lead above Ghana. Mouth-watering summit with the Black Stars in November. If this stays the way it is, it'll be just as mouth-watering actually if it doesn't stay the way this is. Williams. Met in the middle by Yared Beyer. Ethiopian's been left on the ground. And a yellow card comes out for Victor Lutsuolo. Plays for Royal AM, Peter Maritzburg does the attacker. Lutsuolo. And a few notes being made by the Belgian coach Hugo Broos. Well, this was the ball in that led to the goal. It was a decent header towards goal, but if it hadn't hit the captain on the way through, then you've got to think that Emmanuel Johannes was in the right position to clear that. As it is, he was left helpless by his central attacking captain, trying to take responsibility himself. So then Ethiopia will be down to 10 men temporarily. Emmanuel Johannes encouraged to get on with play. Ethiopia down to 10 men for the moment. That lands at the chest of Abubakar Nasir, but he's dispossessed by Sidney Mobi. Lovely piece of play by the attacking midfielder for Ethiopia to get it back, and it's going backwards and forwards, and that's surely offside. That one's an even clearer one against Evidence Magopa. He got one of the goals, but it was an excellent goalkeeping display as well from Ronwen Williams that made sure that South Africa were in a position to be able to win that game. In stark contrast, you'd have to say, unfortunately for Ethiopia, for Fazil Gebremichael. He'd already come in at half-time of the game against Ghana to replace Balko Shanko, who went off because the coach said afterwards he looked like he'd lost all of his confidence after a howler that allowed in what turned out to be the winner for Ghana in half at 35 minutes of the first half. Goalkeepers seeming a bit of a problem in Ethiopia at the moment. They are struggling to find top quality keepers, and a lot of the Ethiopian Premier League sides bringing in foreign keepers. That's a nice little back heel though. Ethiopia might be able to set up another chance. Oh, Emmanuel Gebremichael lost the ball. Looked up to see where he was going to send it, and suddenly the ball was no longer at his feet. Seems a bit of a chicken and egg scenario with regards to quality keepers in Ethiopia, though, because, well, bringing in foreign keepers because there are not enough top quality Ethiopian ones is not helping those who want to be goalkeepers in Ethiopia actually get those positions and training. Here comes Emmanuel Abubakar Nasir. In it comes, and a chance for redemption for Getana Kebeda, but he just puts it wide of the far post. Own goal at one end, but South Africa is showing them that they are a little bit vulnerable at the back as well. Lovely turn by Getana Kabeda. Just couldn't quite get the radar sorted out. Better though from the Wally Ibex. Going to go the other way. There's no foul there, according to the referee. Challenge coming in from Surafel Donachau. On Tebo Mokena, who's still taking a minute just to feel ready to carry on. Here's Yared Baye looking for Abubakar, who is in a lovely battle in this first half with Sidney Mobi. Fascinating. Taken by the Ethiopian attacker. He gets it back again. Feeds it back into the path of Surafel. It's a good ball in. It was well intercepted. And good tracking back by Mesud Mohammed once more. Ethiopia showing purpose and resolve here in adversity. That nearly turned into a shot. Well, I don't think he's putting that on. That was quite a tackle that ended up being a shot towards goal. I don't think he's claiming that there's a free kick in that. That was just a hard challenge between two professional footballers. It's going to hurt, though. Well, Suleiman Hamid plays for St. George, one of the great names of Ethiopian football in Addis Ababa. He started the 1-0 win in Zimbabwe. This is his second start in the campaign after that. Sidney Mobi is sent back where he came from, but gets the throw. More than halfway through the half now, and South Africa just about good for their lead, but Ethiopia showing signs of resistance in the last 10 minutes. That's going to come all the way through for Fazil. And he plays for Bahrain City, so he would not have enjoyed letting that goal in his home stadium. Bahrain City have just won the pre-season Addis Ababa City Cup as well. He didn't play in it though, obviously because he was with the national side. Well, that's a loose ball back. It's been kept in though by Williams. Needs to make this kick good with him being so far out of his goal. He's given it away to Ethiopia, but they are loose in possession as well. Forward by Mokena, and now a chance to race through here for Hongwanye. Decent ball in. Oh, he's over the top. Oh, what a miss there by Laswalo. Golden chance to double the lead, approaching the half-hour mark. Ethiopia caught flat at the back. They were racing through, queuing up. It was a lovely ball into the middle between the defenders. And Laswalo just looked up at the sky, and then he looks up in frustration at the sky as well. Chances at either end. Ethiopia on the attack now. It's a good tackle coming in from Ashego. It's not gone out, so South Africa continue. And the South African fans boo. With the Ethiopian attacker left on the floor. Well, it was a good tackle through on Emmanuel Gebre-Michael, but that doesn't mean he wasn't hurt, the Ethiopian, as a result of it. Just maybe got a little problem there, perhaps a slight twisted ankle. Although that suggests that it's more a problem with his Achilles, with the way that they are stretching it out. Well, the Ethiopians watching their side in South Africa play for the first time since 2013. They made a wonderful atmosphere. A couple of them got a little carried away in one of the games, but overall they were a terrific addition after 31 years to the Cup of African Nations environment. Next year in Cameroon is the first time they'll have qualified since that 2013 tournament, and that's gone out. Taken quickly by Ramadan Youssef. Left back gets it back again and looks forward into the path of Surafel. Ramadan changes the angle of attack, and they'll try and come down the other side instead with Mesud. Surafel Donacho. And he comes back out again to Ramadan Youssef. Starting to feel a little more confident in possession, Ethiopia here, and that's a nice turn. Lovely stuff from Mesud Mohammed, and Ethiopia beginning to build forward once more, but running straight into Nkobo. And now South Africa, it's 2 against 3, and that's a good tackle in the middle by Yared Baye. Very even match, except for the scoreline. Ethiopia trying to get back to that nice, pretty way of playing that we've seen them play in other games. This is a nice pitch as well for them to be able to do that. It's a much better pitch than in Bahrain, up there in the northern part of Ethiopia. That's a good ball into the middle, but it's left by the excellent Ronwen Williams. And it goes behind for a goal kick. Emmanuel Gebre-Michael, another man at the St. George. Not quite at the height of their powers at the moment. Grand old club of Ethiopian football. Number of teams in Ethiopia named after beer. St. George is one of them. And that'll be a throw-in to South Africa. Well, after that scare at the beginning of the match, the centre-back partnership of Ashelo Temena and Yared Baye are performing pretty well. Ramadan Youssef and Suleiman Hamid also operating well on the flanks. They did have that chance through their captain, Getana Kabeda, but that's really the only real chance they've opened up, but it was a good one, but they could equally have been 2-0 down as well. And Victor Lasualo being a little more composed right on the 6-yard box to a beautiful ball into him around about 5 minutes ago. Here come Bafana again. That one's going to slide all the way through to Fazil. It was a Tebo Mokena free kick that he should have easily stopped in injury time at the end of the half in Bahrain. Somehow he let it just go through his hands, and like we say, it's not the first time in this campaign that a goalkeeping howler has gifted the opponents the lead. Oh, that nasty moment there for Rushain Durek, who does somehow manage to recover. However, here come Ethiopia again. That's a good ball into the... Oh, now it's gone behind Abubakar Nasir. Well, it's the composure they're lacking when they come forward, Ethiopia. We've seen it a few times in this campaign and also in other campaigns in recent years as well. They play good football right up to the point where it becomes the sharp end of the pitch, and then it just sort of, well, it's like rabbit in front of the headlights, to be honest. Another well-crafted opportunity goes a-begging. Surafel, nice ball out to Ramadan. Ramadan down the line into the path of Mesut, who's been everywhere in this first half. However, doesn't quite get hold of that one, and it's gone behind for a goal kick to the home side. Well, he'll be happy they're in front, but Hugo Bros will be a little nervous by what he's seeing in front of him today. That's a last warning for Ronwen Williams, if ever there was one, to get on with it and stop wasting time. Emmanuel Gebre-Michael looks like he's about to come off. It's gone beyond Terence Mashego, scampering up there from left bank. So then Emmanuel, I'm afraid, has had to go off after that challenge a little while ago. Obviously something after that challenge didn't go away, and so he is going to be replaced by Segafatso Mabasa. Mabasa, who was replaced in the starting lineup by Eva. So he comes on. South Africa on the attack. And that's going to come through to Fazil, who collects comfortably enough. So Abel Yellow comes on wearing number 7. First touch for Abel since coming on. Ethiopia trying to build once more, back by Surafel. On this near side, Ramadan wants it. However, it gets to him eventually. But via Abubakar. Centre-back Yarid has crossed the halfway line. So too, his centre-back partner, Ashalo Domena. And another free kick on that right-hand side to the man who's just replaced Emmanuel Gebre-Michael. Victor Latsuelo has got to be careful. He's already on a caution. They pincer moved the Ethiopian there. No, they've decided to take a slightly unambitious way of coming forward, but that's a decent ball into the path of Getana. Still got it, the centre forward. Back it comes to Surafel, who goes from distance, and it turned into a more difficult challenge than Ronwen Williams first thought. Back in again. Out it goes by Zulu. Ethiopia from distance. It was a shot that almost caught out Williams, but he managed to get across. Ramadan picks it up and feeds it inside to Abubakar. It's going to be a throw-in to the men in red. The Walia Ibex starting to prance. Ramadan feeds it into Mesut. However, that's a poor ball forward that is easily intercepted. That's an even poorer ball out of defence, though. Picked up by Ramadan again and fed back to Ashelo. Oh dear. Well, Abel Yellow had anticipated the ball down the right wing, and that little bit of telepathy had not reached Mesut Mohammed, who's had an excellent half, so it's difficult to really find him at fault, and he nearly came up with a spectacular goal there, Surafel. South Africa finally get up to the other end again. Chance to put it in by Holongwane. Ethiopia dominating possession. The more that this half goes on. That's a good ball. Needs some support though. Does Getana Kebeda. Little dink ball in by Surafel. It's a tackle comes in from Youssef Mart, but it stays with Ethiopia. Mesut. He's tackled. Well, it was a decent ball through the middle, but Evidence Mogopka almost did the splits trying to get it under his control. And Emmanuel Johannes feeds it forward into the path of Surafel. He's a tag team by two South African midfielders. Botswana feeds it back into the path of Mashego to Durek. That's well done by South Africa. Now a chance to come forward. Moby down the line. That's well, he was just caught on his heels. There was Bongokule Hwangwane. Everybody was on the same wavelength before it reached him. Ramadan Youssef. You can see there prowling his area is Batu Abate, the Ethiopian coach. That's into the path of Sydney Moby, and a comfortable header back to the goalkeeper Williams. Yes, Ubatu Abate trying to resurrect the relative glories of one of his predecessors, Sonat Bishau, who managed to take Ethiopia to the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations, ending 3 decades plus of woe for the team from the Horn of Africa. They beat Somalia in the playoffs and won the race with South Africa, a single qualifying place out of the group to reach the 3rd round playoff that year. Oh, it's been missed by Fazil again. He is not comfortable under those corners into the box, but at least he got something on it this time. Gets away with it. 1.5 minutes to go until the break, and Ethiopia looking just as dangerous as they are vulnerable. Throw in to Yarid, who feeds it back to Fazil. South Africa with a semi-high press. Ramadan Youssef, though, manages to escape it. Well, Surafel there were, again, not quite on the same wavelength as Ramadan, who wanted him to race forward onto the ball, and the midfielder hadn't realised, and the ball was away from him, and that invited the challenge. Here they come again, though. There's space on that right-hand side, and you can see that Mesut wanted to feed it out. He's come inside instead to the substitute Abel. It's deflected away, and it'll be a throw-in. Rushain Durek, the man who got clobbered on his head by ball and player. Mario, they didn't make an awful lot of it. Last 10 seconds of the first half. fascinating half of football here at Soccer City, where South Africa have the best of it at the moment. But overall play has been the way of Ethiopia. 2 minutes to be added on at the end of the first half here at the FNB Stadium. Well, there'll be satisfaction and a little concern for Hugo Bross when the first half whistle goes. However, he'll be feeling a little bit better than his opposite number, Ubatu Abate, who will have some work to do at half-time. He's got to figure out a way, not just to build play, but to finish it off when it gets inside the penalty area. And see the way they've taken a few shots from outside the area, the lack of confidence that they can really finish inside the 18-yard box. Almost a minute into time added on. Into Ngobo. Forward by Zulu. That's left, but intercepted. And here comes Abubakar Nazir into Surafel, who lost his footing at the vital moment. However, Ethiopia will have the throw-in. Well, is there a time for Ethiopia to steal what would be a fairly deserved equaliser back again? South Africa just trying to play out this last 38 seconds. Back by Mart to the goalkeeper. Williams hoofs it upfield. Oh, and they fell asleep there at the back there, Suleiman. And it's allowed Mukena in. The man who scored the opener in the first match on Saturday. Although you could argue that was just as much an own goal as the one that has got them in front tonight. Deruk into Letswala, and the referee blows at the end of a fantastic 45 minutes here in Johannesburg. Ethiopia playing some nice stuff, South Africa matching them, but it was a bit of a nightmare for the Ethiopian skipper, Getana Kebeda. His own goal after 11 minutes separates the two sides. He could have equalised on the half-hour mark, but at half-time here in Soccer City, it's South Africa 1, Ethiopia 0. No, when I watched them against Zimbabwe, despite how I was feeling knackered, it was actually quite entertaining because they play nice stuff.
Hata Cameroon naye. Etata. Yavela hapa le. Hello? menang. Bukan mencontohnya dalam kampanye namun. Jauh itu sampai.
Welcome back to Johannesburg, where the two teams are coming back out onto the pitch here at Soccer City in the FMB Stadium. 2,000 supporters watching a pretty entertaining encounter so far. After the victory 3-1 for South Africa at the weekend, Ethiopia find themselves behind once more, again gifting an opener for the third time in their 4 matches this campaign. Trying to get through to the World Cup for the very first time. They've never qualified before. Their best attempt was for the 2014 World Cup, 4 years after South Africa hosted the greatest footballing event under coach Sernat Beshau. They beat Somalia to get through to the group stage that year. This stage here this year, they were in a group with South Africa that time as well. There was just one qualifying place out of it available then too. And it was Ethiopia who managed to secure top spot in the group at the expense of the South Africans. However, the Ethiopians then lost out to Nigeria in the third round playoff. And it was the Super Eagles that headed off to Brazil, not the Ethiopians. South Africa trying to get into the World Cup for the first time since 2010. And the first time they'll have qualified for a World Cup since 2002, when it took place in Japan and South Korea. South Africa have a 1-0 lead to take into the second half as they hunt for their third win and remain the only team unbeaten in the group. Victory would take them back to the top of the table as well. Second half gets underway here at Soccer City. South Africa 1-0 in front, halfway to going back to the top of their group. Ghana beating Zimbabwe earlier in the day. They hold top spot at the moment. Ethiopia, well, if it stays like this, then they'll be out. There's no way that they'll be able to come back and dethrone top spot, so they need to throw everything they can at the South African goal. Ronwen Williams, though, shows no signs of conceding. He was excellent at the weekend, and he's been pretty good again today. Fazil Gebremichael, who rather let his side down with the opener on Saturday, did it again here, coming for a corner that he had no right to come and get, and it allowed Victor Leswalo in for the header. He didn't catch hold of it quite the way he wanted to, but it went straight against the Ethiopian captain Getana Kebeda, and he diverted that goal into his own goal past the despairing Suleiman Hamid, who was on the post but couldn't stop the ball going in the 11th minute. So South Africa in their usual yellow and green. It's their turn to kick from right to left in the second half. Ethiopia, apart from that goal, had a pretty good first half. They were good in possession. They managed to set up some attacking opportunities, but unfortunately for them, unable to show the kind of calmness in goal, front of goal, that all of the great sides do. It's the main difference between a lot of the African nations. They all look good in possession, they're all getting pretty organised, but it's that little bit of sharpness up front that makes the difference. Ethiopia on the attack. Abel, the first half substitute, feeds it out to Suleiman. And two Ethiopians getting in each other's way in the middle. However, it's a corner taken quickly and wasted in the end. Surafel putting far too much behind that. Surafel had a shot that was well saved from very long distance by Ronwen Williams. I wonder what the Ethiopian manager Webatu Abate said at half-time to try and get his players up for this second half. He's a bit of a legend in Ethiopian football circles. He started with success at Adama City in 2007 before going to Dedebiit. 2011 he provided Ethiopian Coffee to their first ever Ethiopian Premier League title in 2011 before he went off to Sudan and Al Ali. Returned home to take charge of CBE and then Hawassa City. Fasal Kenema. And then latterly Sabata City. That's going to be a foul in an attacking place here for Ethiopia. Yusuf Mart pleads his innocence, but he lunged out there and left a foot behind on Surafel Donachau, who rode over it, and the referee having no doubts. So then, early opportunity here for the Walia Ibex. Five-man wall being put together by Ronwen Williams. The referee laying out the instructions on their conduct during the free kick. So then, plenty of men in the middle. It's going to be left for Surafel to shoot. It comes off the wall and over the top, and it'll be a corner. And a bit of an issue there for Sydney Robbie. I think he was the man who got in the way of that. Yeah, bang. Actually, it was Mashego. Well, that is taking one for the team, putting everything behind the ball, and well, he should be allowed to need as much time as he needs to just get himself back together. Meanwhile, Mark wants to have a drink as well. Hugo Bross is ably assisted by Helman Makelele, who he appointed when he came in May as his local assistant coach. Former winger himself for the Bafana. Taken short by Surafel. Abubakar can't beat two South African defenders. It comes back to Ramadan. Still plenty of men forward. Abel rises, but is beaten in the air by Ashelo. Excuse me, by Deruk. Here they come again, though. Surafel, who's been very involved. Oh, he's shown too much of that, though, to Sulu. However, they've got it back again. Forward by Suleiman into Getana. Kabedo, who looks for goal, and well, it looked like he'd made the decision very early that he was going to go for the shot, despite what happened in the middle, and he never really got on top of it. Again, though, the opportunity is still coming for the visitors. Suleiman. Tempted back heel by Masoud. Didn't quite find Surafel the way he was intending. South Africa now on the attack. Mashego twisting and turning, but tackled by Eshelo. Forward by Masoud. And there was a short pass though. South Africa pick it up in a dangerous opportunity. And it's wide. Nambulo Nkobo catching out the Ethiopians in midfield and didn't really catch hold of the shot the way he was hoping. And who plays for Kaiser Chiefs? He's centre-back who is playing a slightly more advanced role in midfield. Getana doesn't get enough on it for it to reach Messoud. South Africa back in possession. Out it goes by Siyanda Zulu, and it's gone underneath of the foot of Sydney Mobi. Ramadan with the throw. Ethiopia, 5 men forward. He's gone for a shot from distance, which seemed a little bit of a waste. But again, it rather lends itself to the fact that they aren't confident when they get in front of goal, so taking pot shots from outside. In Hugo Bross we believe. Well, certainly the Cameroonians didn't believe in him to start with, but they certainly did by the end of the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations. Crossfield ball by Mashego. Out by Laswalo. Good ball into the middle. Oh, and it's missed. What a chance there for Evidence Makumpa. I think he was caught offside in any case, but he wouldn't have known that when he took on the shot. There he is at the centre. You can see there he's a good metre offside. But that doesn't really excuse the finish. And who scored the final goal in that 3-1 win, earning himself the start in this game, has not quite had the same kind of accuracy as a starter. Here come the South Africans once more, though, as we head towards the 10-minute mark in the second half. Is that offside as well? Another chance for Magugga. It's been cleared off the line. Great defending. Still not away, though. Back from Ngwane. Mark can't get it into the box. It's dropped to Mashego. He's lost the ball, and now Ethiopia have a chance to break, but there aren't really many men ahead of Shurafel. He's done well to keep the ball, though. Surafel can't get it, and it will go all the way back to Yared Bay. Well, the second half continuing to be every bit as fascinating as the first. You just get the feeling now that we're getting towards the business end of these this group stage, where the games take on even more importance. They know what's at stake now. Ethiopia know they can't afford any more mistakes. Well, Ethiopia here with a chance. And then South Africa, was a good move by Mukena. Decent ball into the middle. And Evidence Makubka with that shot, and then brilliant off the line by Suleimani Hamid. Good play all around. It remains 1-0 to South Africa. Ramadan takes it short. He gets another chance to find a teammate again from the subsequent throw. The South African fans in full voice at the moment. Only just under 2,000 of them, but they're making a nice noise inside this Soccer City Stadium. Ethiopia it is, though. We're on the attack. And I thought, well, that was such a bad cross. I thought it must have been deflected for a corner, but it wasn't. Fans are back inside a football stadium in South Africa, and they're very welcome too. Good to see a lot of them actually wearing masks as well, and social distancing. South Africa has had a torrid time over the last couple of years with this horrible disease. Ashalov exchanging passing with his central back partner Yared Beye. It's nicely done. Surafel into Abubakar Nasir. Working well again, trying to open up these spaces. That's good. Abel's got it, but it just slid underneath his foot. In it comes. Oh, the attempted overhead in the middle will result in a free kick to South Africa. Abubakar almost taking Sidney Moby's head off. Brave defending. Can't blame the Ethiopian for going for the spectacular, though. Moby's fine. Well, that was the ball in, and Moby was always in the way, and he got kicked in the back, so... well, that's what you want from your defenders. Not afraid to put your body in where it's likely to hurt, to keep a 1-0 lead intact. Abubakar, he's been fouled. Simple little trip. Ethiopia preparing a couple of substitutions as we approach the hour mark. Turn away from the South African by Yared Beye. Ethiopia trying to work their way down the left-hand side. Patient stuff. Emmanuel Johannes. There's lots to admire here for Ethiopia. But they need to find the cutting edge up front as well. Suleiman into Emmanuel Johannes again. It was Abubakar thinking about the shot from distance, but in the end he lays it off short. You can see all the South Africans back inside their own third. And that will bring us the two substitutions. So then Suleiman is going to come off. So too is Surafel. And on in their place comes Shemeles Bekele and Arat Tonjo. Shemeles Bekele or should bring a real threat, but it's the South Africans who are threatening at the moment. Emmanuel Johannes coming back from midfield to clear it from inside his own 6-yard box. And that's poor. Attempted a clearance from Yared Beye. So Arat Tonjo, who was dropped to the bench from the starting lineup, as indeed was Shemeles Bekele, now get their chance to come on inside the second half with about half an hour to go. Forward by Mesut. Well, it hasn't been very much bad blood in this match so far, but it's fair to say that Teboho Mokena didn't appreciate that challenge. Straight down his Achilles tendon. It's that kind of challenge that led to Marco van Basten eventually having to retire early for the Dutch national side at the age of only 29. A retirement that was so powerful that it provoked a change in the tackle rule. And it's why you're not allowed to tackle from behind anymore. Mesut forward into the new man on, Asrat Tonjo. Another one of the Ethiopian Buna club, Ethiopian Coffee, who were second to Fazil Kenema, Fazil City, last season in the Ethiopian Premier League. Abel comes forward. Shot is blocked. Picked up by Azrat again. Tabani Zuke looks like he's about to come on as Ethiopia come forward again. It needs the last-ditch tackle. It'll be a throw-in after the interception there by Sidney Mobi. Azrat Tonjo looking for a teammate. He can't find one at the moment. There we go. Into Emmanuel Johannes. Mesut. Ethiopia pushing forward more and more now. Ramadan feeds it down the line. Abubakar is tackled by Mobi. Mobi wants the throw in. He's not going to get it. Or is he? It's going to be a substitution first. So the man to come off is Teboho Mokena, the man who scored the opener in the first match between these two at the weekend. The man who was tackled rather violently just a moment ago. Thabani Zuke then comes on to replace him. .23 years old, the Golden Arrows defender. Ethiopia thinking more attacking. South Africa beginning to protect what they've got, even though there are 25 minutes still to go. Good tackle once more. Ethiopia are first into those 50-50s quite often in this game. Forward by Yared. Down the left they go once more. Mobi is getting an awful lot of work. The right back for South Africa, and he earns the free kick there. And a yellow card comes out for Abubakar Nasir, the first Ethiopian to go into the book in the game. I think that was more an accumulation as much as anything else. It wasn't a terrifically terrible challenge, but I think just the accumulation of fouling from Ethiopia over the last 10 minutes or so. Still can't quite see where the yellow card part of that came from, but anyway. .25 minutes to go. It's Getana Kabede's own goal after 11 minutes that separates South Africa from Ethiopia here in African zone qualifying for the World Cup. Victor Letsuolo lays it back in. It's headed out by Ashelo. Not very far, though. It's been a while since South Africa have actually managed to get up the other end. All the way back to the goalkeeper. 60 million people live in South Africa, or there or thereabouts. Estimated at over 117 million now in Ethiopia. It is growing exponentially in the last 20 years or so, in terms of population and indeed in economy. One of the fastest growing economies in the whole of Africa is Ethiopia over the last 2 decades. Addis Ababa almost unrecognizable now from back in, even as far back as 2010, or as near as 2010. That's a nice turn. South Africa on the attack, thanks to Ngobo. He's given the ball away though. Well, it started off nicely. Crowd have stopped singing. They are getting a little nervous. And they'll get even more nervous there after that little piece of play from Rushain de Rurk. Throw-in given to Ethiopia. Getana Kebeda has just come a little bit deeper to try and start off the play. Centre forward goes to the return ball, is thinking about the shot. Well, he could never quite catch up with it. Had a shot that was just wide in the first half. And another shot that was, well, not quite as good in the second. And that was pretty much more like the one he had in the second half than the one in the first. High and wide. Again, here they come down the left-hand side again. They're getting plenty of joy. Abel looking inside. And it's well blocked in the middle by Nyambulo and Kobo. They haven't got it away yet, though. Little switch inside by Azrat Tonjo. Trying to overplay it, perhaps. And Ethiopia will start again from the touchline. Throw in. That's a little paw, though, by Emmanuel Johannes. So the visitors are forced to start again from the back. Again, more joy. Abubakar this time breaking down. He's met across there by Zulu. Another good ball to the right-hand side. It's pretty stuff, this, from Ethiopia, but they haven't created anything yet. Azrat Tonjo back into the middle. The substitute right-back gets it in return. Emmanuel Johannes. Forward by Mesud. Again, they are playing it around, but they are not breaking through. Mesud. Can they do it now? That's a nice little ball through. And Rowan Williams is encouraged to come and get the ball, which he duly does. Well, South Africa letting Ethiopia play it all the way around the penalty area, but the Walia Ibex just not able to get into the 18-yard box. It's like a force field at the moment around the Bafana area. "20 minutes to go. South Africa 1, Ethiopia 0. South Africa, as things stand, heading back to the top of their group. The fourth game of the 6 in the second stage of qualifying for the World Cup in the Africa zone. South Africa looking at a different animal under Hugo Broos, who's beginning to bring that little magic dust that he brought to Cameroon to them. They've still got a lot of work to do, though. Still got to take on Ghana once more. And they've also got to take on Zimbabwe as well, although that should not be as difficult as taking on the Black Stars. It's down the line by Mashego. Into the path of Longwane. He's got 3 Ethiopians around him, but somehow has still managed to come away with the ball. And it's a poor cross from his teammate that ends the attack in its current form. Nice little move to start with by Rushain Duruk, and then the second Ethiopian tackler got him. Again, it's not a particularly good challenge. There from the substitute Shemeles Bekele. Duruk, lofted ball forward, but it's caught the offside flag. Going up there against Nyabulo and Kobo. Almost timed beautifully Has to be said, if he had been onside, not quite sure who he would have crossed to. He was the only one who was up with that kind of speed of play. As that Tonjo feeds it back into the danger area, they'll need Fazil to come and get that, which he does. South Africa preparing the entry of Ethan Brooks, 20-year-old. Attacking midfielder who lost his place as Mokena was moved into a farther forward position for this game. Nowhere to go for Emmanuel Johannes. There was nobody free further forward. So it comes into Abubakar Nasir. Shemeles feeds it out to Azrat Tonjo. Again, the tackling is good. Durek having an excellent game in the back. So then, Yusuf Mart is the man to vacate his place, the midfielder. So Brooks a slightly more attacking man. So it's an interesting move this by Broz. But it's still a midfielder for a midfielder. South Africa have taken that quickly, but the referee has blown to get them to come back. He actually got hit in the face by the ball rather than the Ethiopian tackler. That's beautifully brought down by Hwangwani, and he's into the box. He goes down, and that'll no penalty. No penalty for South Africa. Hwangwani here with a beautiful piece of control off the chest. He beats his man into the box. Now, does the ball get touched? I'm not convinced. Wow. Ethiopia dodge a bullet there. Shemeles can't get there. It'll be a throw into South Africa. Shemeles has been around for so many years in the Ethiopian shirt. "15 minutes to go, South Africa still clinging on to a 1-0 lead. And again, it's Longwane trying to go around his man, and this time it's him that is penalised. Must think the referee's got something against him. Azrat. For me, there, he just got out-muscled, shoulder to shoulder. Talking about Shemeles Bekele just a few moments ago, he is actually old enough to remember when they were here in the Africa Cup of Nations. Much younger back then, in his early 20s. Here he is on the ball again, the veteran. Ethiopia trying to rescue their campaign. They've only got 14 minutes in which to do so. They are running out of time. And a good tackle in the middle. Has left Duruk on the ground. He limps away from it. And we're hearing that Mesut Mohammed is going to come off. He has been a dynamo for Ethiopia in the game so far, the number 3. Well, it's all becoming a little stretch now, the game. The midfielders, you can see why they're making changes, because the midfielders are looking tired now. Gaps are beginning to appear. Gatoch Panom is the man who's going to come on. 26-year-old defensive midfielder for Welata Dicha Sodo. Masoud Mohamed has had a terrific game. Getana Kabeda has also come off, which means that Shemeles will take the captain's armband. Or at least he will do if they can get the Velcro to attach. Well, here is the goal. It was the corner kick that came in. It was a nice cushioned header by Victor Lesualo that was going wide until his path was intercepted by the Ethiopian skipper, Getana. And it made poor old Masoud on the line a spectator as it went forlornly past him. It's going to be a drop ball. Ethiopia straight away into the tackle. It comes back to Rushain Derek. Mamelodi Sundown central defender getting into a bit of a mess. And somehow South Africa have got away with that. Waited and waited. Back to the goalkeeper. And that's about the first false note that Ronwen Williams has made. And it almost rebounded back in again from Abubakar Nasir. On such fine margins, World Cup participations can be decided. 10 minutes to go, and it's South Africa who is still leading by a single goal to nil. That wasn't the best ball. I don't think that Yared will be thanking Ashalo for that little jog to the sideline. Crowd are beginning to get a little agitated as they get more and more nervous as they realise the victory is getting nearer and nearer. Forward by Ashalo, it's doesn't though reach its intended target. That was Gaturo. Well, all of this will serve South Africa well as the game becomes a little disjointed. The substitutions seem to have got in the way somewhat, as we'll see another one. The man who provoked the first goal, Victor Letsualo, is going to come off and be replaced by Thabiso Kutamela. Kutamela, who was replaced by Letsualo in the starting lineup today, which proved a judicious decision by the Belgian tactician, as it was he that provoked the goal that separates the two sides. Good tackle by Manuel Johannes. Ethiopia trying to build again. Although they won't build very quickly like that. Abel. Tackled. Still got it. Oof. Ouch. Abubakar there isn't moving. Let's hope that he's just taking a rest. Well, is he conscious or not? What's going on? Yes, he is. Good. Nevertheless, a hit like that, the way he reacted, I wonder not whether it's really safe for him to carry on for the last 7 minutes of the game. Back underway again then, out by Ronwen Williams. That's a very good ball as well. Right into the path of Bongalkule Hoangwane, who goes from distance and can't keep it down. Maritzburg United centre forward has scored for the national side. Not there though. Now, Getuak. Ethiopia have 6 minutes left. Really, they need 2 goals, not just 1. A draw doesn't really cut it for them. Azrat. The overlap by the new man who has just come on. Shenet Gugsa. However, it's intercepted by Hoangwane. Hoangwane trying to take it forward himself. Just fed it a little bit too far in front of his man, and it was intercepted by Yared. Back come Ethiopia. Gugsa out to Azrat. And the attempt by Abel wasn't too bad. Flashes over the top of Ronwen Williams' goal. That would have been quite a finish. And he knows how close it was. It remains, though, 1-0. South Africa on their way to victory. Or are they? 4.5 minutes, plus whatever the referee decides to put on at the end of the game between South Africa and the lead in the group. Coach Bros looking to build the squad on a whole new youthful setup, bringing in form players from the South African Premier League, including Thabani Azuke, who's come on as a substitute in this match, Jesse Don, who's still on the bench, and the Cape Town City pair of Mashego, who has started this game, and that Sane, who hasn't figured yet. Been a good game as well since coming on for Mabasa, the Orlando Pirates centre forward. South Africa at the moment holding on to what they've got, not really making much of an attempt to increase their lead. It's Ethiopia doing all of the probing coming forward, and they still might come back. Ramadan again, good tackling. Oh, they've given it away though, and a chance into the middle. Well, it came straight against the back of Shernut Gugsa, but he couldn't quite turn in time to get it. Here we go again, 3 minutes to go. Abel, poor from the substitute. Gets a little round of applause of encouragement from Emmanuel Johannes. But that man there knows he's running out of time. Looks as though ice wouldn't melt in his mouth, but you can imagine what's going through his thoughts at the moment. They are running out of time to keep their World Cup challenge alive. Shernak Gugesa is fouled by Thabane Zuke. Ethiopia take it quickly, but that's perhaps a little too quick. And suddenly it's South Africa who've got the chance to counter-attack. Good tackle comes through from Getoch Paman. Through on the South African centre-forward Evidence Makogpa. There's a yellow card coming out. Not sure who it's for yet, whether it's for Mashego or whether it's for the substitute Zuke. It's for Zuke for the challenge, not for something that was said. Barney Zuke, there's a... Well, that was another challenge that perhaps could have been given slightly more punishment. Nervous times for both coaches, but for drastically different reasons. That was the challenge that brought Thabane Zuke his yellow card. More than a passing resemblance to Gael Kakuta for Thabane Zuke. Kakuta, who plays at Lens in Liga in France. So then, South Africa briefly down to 10 men, whilst Magopa gets some treatment. 4 minutes at the end of the 90. We are already into time added on. South Africa win this, they go to 10 points. Ethiopia will remain on 3, and their challenge to take that top spot will be gone. They left it until the very last minute to come back against Zimbabwe, but that was when the score was 0-0. Here, they need 2 goals. One would mathematically keep them in it, but it still would be a very, very unlikely that they would go through. They need the victory, and they've got just over 3 minutes to find 2 goals, and frankly, they haven't really looked like they will find one. Forward by Asrat Tunjo, back by Shemeles, into Göttuno. Abel, again the shape is very good from South Africa's defence. Ethiopia just cannot pierce it. You can see that they've been well drilled by their coach, and they have kept their shape all the way through this game. They did the same thing against Ghana as well. Ashalau feeds it out to Azrat. Ethiopia still playing pretty patterns, but not making any way through. They might do here, though, and Abel has just got that first touch all wrong. And again, it's that little bit of composure when they are through on goal that has been missing. Abiso Kutomela has got a yellow card. The substitute's only been on the pitch about 3 minutes. However, he won't care if his team can last the last minute and a half. It's getting too late now for Ethiopia to be able to score twice, but is there a consolation effort at least? Taken quickly by Abubakar Nasir, but backwards into Ashilo. We need to get the ball in the box. Shemeles, again, he hits it, but it's a free kick to Ethiopia. Ethan Brooks, the young midfielder, is the man who's adjusted, brought down the veteran Ethiopian Shemeles. Well, the damage here, if Ethiopia score, would be much more on South Africa. Ethiopia are damaged either way. They have to win. A draw is not good enough. Shemeles tries to get the South Africans away from that free kick spot. The referee getting the wall ready. South Africa here, the difference between leading and trailing Ghana, perhaps in the next 30 seconds. So then, here we go. It's not bad, and it's just wide. And that could be it. So close, and yet so far. And again, Ronwen Williams more than happy to see Abel's free kick flash over the bar. The full-time whistle has gone, and South Africa have taken this by 1-0. Ethiopia are eliminated from World Cup qualifying thanks to Getanet Kabede's own goal in the 11th minute. Ethiopia had plenty of possession. They created chances, but just couldn't put any of them away. And South Africa hold on, and they go top of the group again, taking pole position away from Ghana. We look forward to November now for that summit between the top two. But here at Soccer City, it has finished. South Africa 1, Ethiopia 0. Well, there was great resolve in that match from Hugo Bross's men. Real steel in defence. Didn't have an awful lot to come forward to, and the South African players go off to say thank you to the fans. So South Africa back on top, 1 point ahead of Ghana. Ethiopia's campaign is over, so too is Zimbabwe's. For me, Angus Terode, it's good night.